What's going on, guys? How are you all on this Sunday, November the 23rd? It is I, Farzine Vesugian. Gonna wait for a few more people to jump on here. I see some YouTube, X, Facebook, I think Instagram people are watching as well. Yes, welcome. Appreciate you guys. As some of you know, I am not home. I am on the road. I am in lovely Cancun, Mexico. Yes. What's going on? Like the drip? Yeah, we are live from sunny Cancun. I don't know what the weather's like in Kansas City. I think it was raining the other day. Had to check my security cameras at home, making sure, nothing bad was happening on the inside. Good morning from Phoenix. Yeah, I would imagine Phoenix and Cancun are about the same or close to it right now, but here we are. It is Sunday. The Chiefs are getting ready to play in 3 hours. That feels, or no. See, this is where I start to screw up here because it's 9 o'clock Eastern time. I'm not used to this. They play in 4 hours. It's 8 o'clock Central time. See, we always do the pregame live chats for a noon kickoff game at 8 a.m. Central time. So, see, I'm already screwing up here. Listen, I don't know how I sound. We do not have the most professional setup here. I am in a hotel. The lighting isn't great. The audio is not going to be wonderful. It is going to be a different podcast. So just a heads up. We're not going to have we don't have air horns. No air horns, none of that stuff. So you guys are going to have to just live without that for a couple of episodes because we're going to do a podcast today and also on Tuesday when we break down. Yes, I'll be doing another podcast while I'm here. Obviously, it's going to be a short week with Dallas coming up, but we'll worry all about that later. But just a heads up, Tuesday night, there will be a podcast. I keep wanting to look here to look at the camera, but I keep forgetting I'm not in my studio. So this is going to take some getting used to for sure. All right. How are you guys feeling? I know I said this yesterday, and it is the truth. I know some Chiefs fans did not appreciate me saying this, but the Chiefs are in playoff mode right now. Could the Chiefs afford a loss? Possibly. And that loss would have to be probably the Thanksgiving game against Dallas. I know no one wants to lose on Thanksgiving, but if the Chiefs are going to lose a game, it's probably going to have to be that non-conference game, even though the rest of the AFC West is playing Dallas this year. So when it comes to tiebreaker situations, that could be one that the Chiefs would need over the edge against the Chargers. But honestly speaking, the Chiefs, they can only afford one loss. I was watching SportsCenter this morning, and they said maybe 10 wins. I don't think 10 wins is going to work. 10 wins is not going to work to get into the playoffs this year. Excuse me. So if you're Kansas City, you kind of need to win out. And if you lose today's game, I know the Chiefs on the Athletics website, they have about a 50-some% chance of winning. They had a 56% chance before Thursday Night Football. After Thursday Night Football, with Houston demolishing Josh Allen in that game, it turned into a 54% chance. So it went down a little bit, but they're being mindful of the fact that the Chiefs have not played yet this week. I would imagine that number can change to the 60s if the Chiefs were to win today. If the Chiefs lose, I seriously wonder if it drops to the 40s, maybe even the 30s in terms of their probability, their chances of making the playoffs. So this is playoff mode. And it sucks to say, it's embarrassing to say, but the Kansas City Chiefs, their postseason starts today. They cannot afford a single loss for the remainder of the season. Now, if they win out, maybe they'll have a wild card clinched before Week 18. I don't know. But, boy, Kansas City has very little room for error right now. The margin for error was already small 7 days ago before the Denver loss. It's even smaller now, especially because Houston won on Thursday night. I was one of those idiots that said, hey, they might flex out of that Chiefs-Texans Sunday night game because the Texans got off to a slow start. Well, now that looks like a game with massive playoff implications. I know that's a couple of weeks away, but all of these games, when you play the Chargers next month, that has massive playoff implications. The Broncos game on Christmas will also have massive playoff implications. I don't think that's going to be for the division. I think it's going to be one of those games on Christmas where Denver is going to fight for a number 1 seed. Kansas City is going to be fighting for a wild card spot. So this is a situation now that the Chiefs put themselves in to where not only do they have to win out, but they also need help from other teams to beat the Chargers, to maybe beat the Jaguars, just to give yourself ample opportunities to make it. I see all these people talking about the Bills. I don't think the Bills are going to miss the playoffs. I think people need to slow down. The Bills are a weird team. People love to jump on the Bills whenever they struggle or don't do well. I don't get it. I've never understood the criticism with the Buffalo Bills in that manner there. Do they have a hard time getting over the hump in the playoffs? Yes. But right now they're in a great situation with the standings. I think Buffalo's going to be one of those teams, and you see this sometimes in the NFL, where you have a really good wild card team that could win the division in any other division with the win-loss record. At 7-4, Buffalo's not losing a wild card spot. That would be a colossal embarrassment if they somehow dropped out. You also need teams to come through and maybe beat Houston, unless you win out, because if you win out, you'll beat Houston and you'll have the tiebreaker over them. Now, I've said this for a while now. Right now, the wild card spots as they sit at the moment, it's the Chargers at 5. They're on a bye week this week. The Bills are at 6, and the Jaguars are at 7. Then you have Houston at 8, Kansas City at 9, Baltimore is at 10. And then Miami and Cincinnati behind the Ravens and the Chiefs. I think the Chargers are going to fall out of the playoff picture because they do not have an offensive line. Did you see what Jacksonville did to them? And listen, I don't think Jacksonville is this world beater of a football team, but I think even the most mediocre defense, especially defensive lines, they can get to Justin Herbert because the Chargers have a banged-up offensive line where they're using at least 2 or 3 backups with that offensive line right now. And we all know that does not help any quarterback. So I think in that regard there, the Chargers are going to fall out of the playoff picture. Yeah, playoffs do start now. I agree with you, Ricky. Yeah. And I was watching SportsCenter. Herm Edwards said the same thing. I know a lot of people don't like Herm Edwards, but that is true. Buffalo on a roller coaster right now. See, people, listen, man, I just don't get the criticism with Buffalo. Is this their year to win? Probably not. I know every year we get all this hype. Oh, this is the year for Buffalo. But then we always come across, who would I pick between all the AFC division leaders right now? Denver, I would pick Denver to beat Buffalo. I'd pick New England to beat Buffalo. I pick the Colts to beat Buffalo, but I wouldn't bet on that. That's going to be a closer one. The Steelers, that's a hot and cold team. And there's a good possibility the Ravens move ahead of the Steelers, which would be bad because the Chiefs have the tiebreaker over the Ravens. So that would at least guarantee them one team that they're ahead of in this wild card race. But given the way things are looking for the Steelers right now, they're kind of an up and down team. So I would pick a lot of those teams to beat Buffalo. I just don't think they'll make the playoffs. Maybe they win one playoff game, but I don't think this is their year to go very far. I just don't see it. Because if they do make the playoffs, which I think they will as a 5 seed, they'll probably end up playing Baltimore. I think Baltimore is going to end up with the 4 seed. If Kansas City gets in, it's probably going to be the 6 or 7 seed. I would bet the 7 seed. And I would guess they probably visit Denver. Boy, wouldn't that be a matchup? Oh, playoff Chiefs always beat Buffalo. Yes. But what are the odds of the Chiefs and the Bills playing each other in a playoff game this year? Realistically, the odds of that are extremely small. Steelers aren't winning that division. The Ravens are. The Ravens are playing better, and they're starting to get healthier. So that is a possibility. The Colts and Cowboys are really important in our tiebreaker with the Chargers if we can tie them for that last wild card spot. How have the Chargers done against those teams? Have the Chargers played the Cowboys? They have not. They play the Cowboys on December the 21st. They already lost to the Colts. So that is a good call there. That's a good call there, Sean. Now, let me just look at wild card tiebreakers, because I think the first tiebreaker is head to head. So if you beat the Chargers in December, the head to head is going to be tied. So I think the next one for the wild card is AFC record between two clubs. That's for the division. Where's the wild card? Yeah. Best win-loss tied percentage in the conference. And then number 3 is game against common opponents, minimum of 4. And obviously the Chiefs and Chargers, they play a lot of common teams. So you'll definitely have your minimum of 4 there. Then it goes to strength of victory and then strength of schedule. If you guys are wondering what the next one is, this is where it gets weird. Then it's best combined ranking among conference teams in points scored and points allowed in games. That's where things get a little funky there. Then it's like best net points in conference games, best net points in all games, best net touchdowns in all games. And if for whatever reason that's all tied up, then it's a coin toss. That is not you do not want to leave it in the hands of a coin toss, but I don't think it'll get there. I mean, what are the odds of that even happening? I don't think that's ever happened before. I mean, the NFL does a good job with these rules to even prevent that from happening, but I suppose they need that insurance just in case. Yeah, Kay says we need to win out. Yeah, that's true. Now, you still need some teams ahead of you to lose, and I do think the Chargers will start to lose football games because they're not gonna last long. I know they won 3 straight before losing to Jacksonville last week, but with Joe Alt going out, you're just not like, will they beat the Raiders when they come back after their bye week? Yes. But then they play the Eagles. You're not beating Philly. Not with Josh Sweat, not with, Josh Sweat's not gone. Josh Uche, who's doing well for them, former Chief last year. Then the Chiefs, then the Cowboys, then the Texans, then the Broncos. Like, the Chargers do have a really difficult schedule after their bye week. They play the Raiders. That's an easy win, all right? At least you would think it's easy, unless Max Crosby has the game of his life. But then after that, I mean, you're playing some really tough teams. I know Dallas, they're not a very good team win-loss wise, but they've got a really good offense. And again, because the Chargers don't have an offensive line, a lot of games are probably going to be tougher than they might look on paper. All right, we're coming up on 15 minutes. I'll read a few more comments and get out of here. You love the shirt. Thank you. Where am I? I'm in Cancun, Mexico. The Jags are inconsistent on wins. Some games you think they should win, they have lost. Yes, that's true. But here's the thing. I don't have a good grasp on what Jacksonville is. Now, let's just say this for Jacksonville. Let's assume that their up and down season is due to head coaching with Liam Cohen, being a rookie head coach. And he's trying to figure things out as the season goes on. And now he's figuring it out as the playoff race heats up. So let's assume Liam Cohen figures out, his learning curve as a rookie head coach, and they hold on to one of the wild card spots. You got Buffalo and you got Jacksonville. The Chargers are dropping. I would bet anything that the Chargers are falling out of the wild card picture. So you have to win out because that might be the only team in the wild card race that falls out. That opens up the door for Houston, Kansas City, and I guess whoever does not win the NFC North between Baltimore and Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh looks like a team that's also kind of falling apart, so they might not be great competition for you. Cowboys defense will be better with Quentin Williams and Logan Wilson. Maybe. Yeah, the Texans, I will say, when you look at the remainder of Kansas City's schedule right now, I just had it. Where was it? The two important games on this schedule. That's not what I want. It's the Texans game, and then right after the Texans, it's the Chargers. The December 7th game on Sunday Night Football, and then a week later on December the 14th when the Chargers come to Arrowhead. Those are two home games back to back. Because here's what Kansas City has. They have the Colts today. Great offense. Defense can be up and down. They're getting Charvarius Ward back. Sauce Gardner has had a little bit of time to kind of get acclimated with that defense now with the bye week. You have the Cowboys. Good offense, but bad defense. Texans, they're actually playing better offensively with Davis Mills. CJ Stroud has not been good this year. Texans defense, if you watch Thursday Night Football, you do not need me to explain to you how good they are with those 8 sacks and 3 turnovers that they got from Josh Allen. No, 3 interceptions, I should say, from Allen. I think they had a fumble recovery as well. So a lot of takeaways, a lot of sacks. The Chargers, again, said it before, I think that they're a downward spiral. The Titans, you're winning that game. Chiefs are not losing that game. I don't care where that is. The Broncos game, that is going to be tough. You'd like to think, given how close it was the first time, you can get them this time at Arrowhead, especially considering that'll be a playoff game. Every game is a playoff game, but it's gonna be crunch time at that moment. And then last game of the season, Raiders, you're winning that. So the two important stretch of games back to back, Texans and Chargers next month, and I would say your two toughest games are the Texans and the Broncos. They're a couple games apart, but that's what you have left on the schedule. I'm going 23-20 Kansas City today. That's my score prediction. Yeah, honestly, I would rather play CJ Stroud than Davis Mills. Davis Mills actually has not been bad. CJ Stroud took a big step back last year for the Texans. Even though they made the playoffs, he just wasn't that good. Oh, man, we're getting a couple of people predicting the Colts to win. All right. How important is today's game? Are we on the edge if we lose today? Palmas 95. If the Chiefs lose today, they're not quite out of it, but their odds of making the playoffs drop drastically. Why am I so zoomed in on Instagram? Everywhere else, I don't look like that. But yeah, to answer your question, you have to win out regardless. Given how close the wild card race is right now, and you have to consider Kansas City is already behind the 8 ball because they have some tiebreakers lost at the moment. But if you lose today, not only do you have to win out, the other teams have to damn near lose out, like the Chargers, the Jaguars, the Texans. Is there a scenario you see them resting players in the Raiders game? Definitely not for a division unless Denver somehow falls apart. The only way I see that is if they're locked into a wild card spot. That's the only way I see that, Dono. All right, I'll read 1 or 2 more comments here. Will Thornton get his TD? I hope so. I really hope so. I mean, how are you not using Kareem Hunt and Tyquan Thornton? Kareem Hunt leads the NFL in EPA rushes. So that doesn't mean he's the best running back, but he can do some really good things for you. Like, quit overcomplicating shit. Run the ball on 3rd and short. Get Tyquan Thornton far. Tyquan Thornton's averaging almost 25 yards a catch. He's your most effective pass catcher this year. Get him more involved. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I'll be back at halftime. We'll do our halftime live stream from this lovely hotel studio, this very unprofessional studio we've got for this week. And then after the game, we'll do the Chiefs Zone podcast live. Unfortunately, we do not have the capability of doing call-ins for this podcast, but I promise you for Thursday's game, that will change. So be on the lookout for that. All right, guys. I'm Farzi Masugian. Thank you all for joining me. I will be watching the game and hopefully the Chiefs win. All right. Talk to you all later. Peace out.